Hello, hello. I am back, and today I have the amazing Kristin Woodford. And a lot of you might already know Kristin because she has such an amazing podcast, and we're always sharing it, The Routine Queen. And for those of you that don't know Kristin, I can't wait for you to follow along your journey, Kristin, for people to follow on your journey. And I want to hand it right over to you because I always think people tell their own story best, obviously. And I would love for you to share what is the work that you're currently doing in your business and why?
Yeah, so excited to be here. So thanks for having me. So I help women and primarily moms, but not exclusively, uplevel their lives one healthy habit and one mindful day at a time.
Mhm.
And what is at the basis of this is helping people develop, create, and implement their own morning ritual, morning routine. And we really take it back to basics in its simplest form. I am like that accountability buddy and that friend in the best way that's like, hey, did you put yourself on the priority list today? And
Mm,
why is it important to make yourself a non negotiable? And how can you do it in a way that is easy to implement? Simple, not always easy, but simple to implement. And how can we make it sustainable? So what I found for me, this is me sharing my journey and my
mm,
personal growth along the way and learnings along the way. And what I found was I used to hate routines and I used to hate early mornings. I used to go against all of that. And about 3.5 years ago, I found that by implementing my own routine every morning with some intentional time for myself, with a few little key practices, made the world of difference in how I felt. It made the
mm.
world of difference in the amount of energy that I had. The beginning of the day and the end of the day. I went from feeling like I was being controlled by my alarm clock and the to-do lists and the chaos and you know,
Relatable.
yeah, right? When you fall
Mm.
into bed just like exhausted and you just look forward to like a few moments of screen time just for an escape. And so put all that aside by implementing some few simple key things, you can go to like waking up before your alarm and loving early mornings and feeling vibrant and alive
Mm.
every day. And so that's what this is all about. It's just making a little bit more whatever it is you're looking for. I always say I look to feel truly alive every day, and it's finding the joy in the small moments. But basically, what it boils down to is finding a way to live your life the way
Mm.
you want to live it instead of controlled by circumstance.
Yeah, I think you're articulating it so well in that, I'm recently rereading Atomic Habits, and that is the premise of it all of tiny little 1% changes are what add up, right? It's not, going to the gym once and wondering like, well, why didn't I get the six pack? It's like, well, the six pack actually shouldn't even be the goal. It's being the person who values working out if that's why you're going to the gym. And I know on the outside, seeing you build your business, that is truly what you help people with is like, hopefully we live really long lives and we're not here to beat the alarm just one day. It's like, how can we create a lifestyle around this? And that's what you do.
100%. Because I always say, like, if we're not having fun, what is the whole point? Right. And
Yeah.
so if you're not enjoying something, let's find a way to change it. And it doesn't have to come from huge, extravagant changes. It, like you said, it's those small, consistent shifts that
Mhm.
make the hugest transformation.
It's so true. Okay, can you share a little bit about why a podcast? I mean, there's so many ways that we can have outlets to get our message out there. Why a podcast and what's it like? What's your journey been like so far? And how old is the Routine Queen podcast now? How many months old?
So it's 6 months. April 19th was launch date.
Mm,
And
amazing.
so I have to say that up until end of January, I never wanted a podcast. It wasn't something that I it came across my radar. And then actually through us, yeah, a little seed was planted. And I was looking for a way to grow my community.
Mm,
And I knew that there was really good stuff going on, and I wanted to expand that reach further. And someone at one point had said, like a book or a podcast is a great way to, build credibility, share your knowledge, and create community and create connections. And so I was like, okay, let's give this a go. And lo and behold, it's not as difficult as everyone thinks it is. Now,
mm,
it's doesn't mean it's always easy, right? But it's and so yeah, I really, really enjoyed putting it together. And that's the highlight of my week is doing
mm.
the episodes. And so yeah, it's about, I don't even know, we're about 25 episodes in, something like that.
Wow.
And it's fun, it's expanding, and strangers are listening to it, which is, for anyone trying to build anything, is exhilarating and terrifying and all of
Mm.
that. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
been
like a
really,
screech-worthy moment. It's like, "Oh my god, I don't even know them."
yeah, totally, right? So
Yeah.
so it's working. Yeah, and it's fun.
Mm. Yeah, so cool. And, like you're charting really well. Like your podcast is in the top 10% right now, and that says so much.
Thank you. Yes, it's very exciting to see, and it's exciting to see the stats go up every week.
Mm.
And so I'm going to share a big, huge, crazy goal with you here, if that's okay.
Yes, please
So
do.
yeah, so it's like I said, right around 6 months old. We are currently just over 2,500 downloads,
Mm.
plays, and the big scary goal is to reach 10,000 by the time the podcast turns one. So
Oh, you've got this.
yeah, I
You've
think
got
so.
this. Everybody who's watching and listening right now is going to go to Apple or Spotify or Google or wherever, find your podcast platform of choice, search the Routine Queen, hit subscribe, and then get your weekly dose. And also, the way it starts is I'll just leave it. I'm not even going to say what it is. The way your podcast starts is hands down my favorite way that anybody has ever had an introduction in their podcast. So it's pure gold.
Every time I hear it, it just melts my heart in the best way.
Oh, it's so good. Same. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh my God, yes. Okay, so everybody go listen to Kristin's podcast. Okay, what we're going to do for those of you who are watching and listening is we are going to circle back to Kristin and hear about what she's got going on right now and where you can find her and all of those links. So stick around for that. We're going to switch gears a little bit, and I want to ask you some questions about your time in Platinum.
Please, yeah.
General overall, if you had to say what has been your favorite part of this experience in the last 10 months, what would you say?
Does it have to be one word?
No, not one
Did you say
word.
one word? Okay.
No.
Favorite part of the experience. There's so many parts. My favorite part is community and expansion.
Mm,
And so I think that we all have probably said this multiple times, but it's worth saying again. Joining Platinum is access to you and Kayla, which is invaluable in itself, but also having access to a community of women unlike anything I've ever been a part of.
mm,
It is supportive, and they are your cheer squad, and you're not just, I mean, you're building and growing your business in the best way. And there's that like motivation to always keep growing and evolving and pushing further. And these women, they they are family, hands down.
mm,
It's like, you're there for business support, but everyone also knows what's going on in like the deepest depths of your soul and how they can support. It's
mm,
just, there's not an ounce of competitiveness, but it's all just pure love and support and growth and evolution. And so this past year in Platinum has seen my business grow in a number of different ways. And it's also provided myself, like as an individual, huge growth and expansion that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. It's invaluable.
Thank you for saying that. It really is. I think lots of people here are like, oh yeah, I'll go into a mastermind and it's going to be supportive and I'll meet some great humans. And I think there's some sort of magic that there's some sort of swirling magic that happens amongst all of the energies combined, like you and the 23 other women that are there right now, and myself and Kayla. It's like putting all of us in a room, everybody is a puzzle piece. And without one person's story, the puzzle piece we'd be missing a piece of the puzzle. It's like
Yeah.
it all just fits so well. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Okay, so another question I've been loving asking people is, we come together weekly in different ways. So sometimes we do Q&A, sometimes we're in a mini mastermind, sometimes it's a mindset call, sometimes it's vortex, and then every once in a while we get those accelerator calls. Out of the different ways that we meet up and interact with one another, what's your favorite and why?
I can't answer that. They're all my favorite for different reasons. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I really don't have one that's a favorite, and I'll tell you why. So, like I always say, in different seasons of life, and a season could be a different, week to week, you have different needs, right? And so I like, okay, here's my answer. My favorite is the variety of it.
Mm,
And so, yeah, some weeks the whole group is together and it's so nice to see everyone's face. And I love the learning that you bring into every call. So, like every call, there's some sort of exercise or mindset or something to think about before we get into it. I love being able to share experiences with everyone. So, whether it's, me offering advice or getting advice from the group, the small masterminds is like an intimate group that you get to know on a fully different level that
mm,
you wouldn't get if it was always just everyone. And then the vortex days are magic because even though you're mostly not speaking to each other, the energy in just being surrounded by people working on the similar things is palpable without even communicating. And so variety is my favorite.
all right, I love that. Variety is the spice of life.
And I will say too that, sometimes when we don't meet on a week, I miss it. I'm like, where are my people at?
Oh, me too. I feel the exact same way, and I've shared this so many times in so many different places and spaces in that I loved my honeymoon. I loved it so much. I loved being offline and traveling. I stayed in WhatsApp. I could not disassociate from WhatsApp. I was like, "Hi, I'm just ordering Aperol Spritz here in Italy, and how's everything going over there?" Like I just need to know. But for me, not being on those weekly calls, it's FOMO for me. I feel like I'm missing out. I'm like, I want to know what everybody's up to. What are we celebrating? Who are we helping overcome challenges? How are you all helping me? Like, I shared something. I've still not shared something that out publicly that I only shared with Platinum, right? Like, it's a very special community.
And I think you touched on that, right? So it's when you love something so much and when you're so aligned with something, so what you're aligned with teaching us, we're aligned with our purpose and what brought us here and being part of this group, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel hard. You want to be part of it because every time you're in that energy, you feel yourself expand and just
Mhm.
grow and just it's really, really good.
So good. Okay. Last question about Platinum and then back to you. There's always people watching and waiting, and they've got their reasons. Maybe like, I'm scared to spend the money, I'm scared to invest in it, a year in it, or like, I don't know if I'm a fit. Everybody seems like so far along in their business or in their confidence or whatever it might be. If you had to talk to any one of those things and support somebody about why they should get off the fence, what would you say?
Yeah, there's two different things. One is I remember you saying to me when I was thinking about joining, think of yourself 1 year from now. If you do it or if you don't do it, and if you don't do it, and what do those versions of you look like? And I was tired of wanting something, but never getting there. And so by making this investment, it was the push that I needed, but it's also the accountability and guidance and the learning to actually do the things to go from being and wishing and wanting to being in it and doing it and like actually making it come to fruition. And so think of where you want to be. And then, yeah, I mean, reward takes risk sometimes, right? And
Mm,
for me, it's not a matter of risk. It's like, well, why wouldn't you? Because it's easier to say now that I'm in it and I know what it's like. But just taking that step, sometimes it can feel scary, but oh my God, it's so rewarding. And
mm.
then, oh shoot, I was like, yeah, it's escaped me. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I think that's a great response of like that it really is that. Like, where do you want to be in a year from now? Because we are talking about spending a year together. And so I know for myself, before I had coaching, I wished and wanted for things that I thought were available. And then I
Mm.
got into a mastermind and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was available. I didn't know that this was something I could have or strive for. Okay, the game just got bigger and I'm going for it now.
Yeah, and I remembered what I was going to say. So it's, what I love too about the group is there's people from all different levels. So there's
Mhm.
people with well-established businesses, there's people that don't have one started yet or have just started and everything in between. And so there's no such thing as you're not far enough along
Mhm.
or it's just you just do it, right? And no matter where you are, everyone like it works for everyone. So, yeah.
Yeah, we all share the same challenges, like,
Mhm.
of coming up against limiting beliefs or imposter syndrome or, you know, marketing challenges or lead generation. Like you have the lead generation is a problem on day one and, you know, $5 million into your business, it's still a problem for people. Is like, how do I get more people? So like we just share challenges and talk about how to overcome them. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah. And if I can say one last thing, sometimes we're so hesitant to start something because we think we're not in the right place
Mm.
or we don't have enough time or it's not the right time for whatever reason. And it's never going to be the right time if you don't make it the right time. So,
That's right,
yeah.
folks. Okay, Kristen, thank you so much for sharing all that. Back to you. What do you've got
Hmm.
going on? How can people find you, work with you? Direct us to any links or pages or offers, and we'll make sure that it all gets listed into the show notes.
For sure. So there's a couple of ways you can get hold of me. The easiest way is on Instagram at Kristin Woodford. And then on there, there's also links to the website, which is kristinwoodford.com, and then the podcast, which is The Routine Queen. And the most exciting thing and way to work with me right now is we have the Routine Queen membership. And so
Yes.
it's a year-long membership for $1 a day. And it's all about community, accountability, and evolution. And you can get to that through either Instagram or the website for sure.
So good. $1 a day is truly a no-brainer, especially to have people to have you in their corner. I know that I went to this like master class you did one time about routines. And I remember
Mm,
you talked about routines in a way that I'd never heard before. So that's the thing. If people are like, oh, I think I've got my routine down, or there's always more to learn. There's always another way. There's always something that's like, oh, she's doing it differently. And I mean, you are the queen of it. So
thank you. And yes, I'll have like one free monthly create your own morning ritual class a month. So that'll all be posted on Instagram.
perfect. Okay. So if Kristen is new to you, make sure that you go say hello, whether you found her here on our YouTube channel or on the podcast or Instagram or wherever it might be. Go say hello, get subscribed to her podcast, check out her membership. I also think it's a great gift idea for anybody for the holidays. If you're thinking that somebody could really use some accountability and support for $365 to set somebody up for a year with that is really amazing.
And also go sign up for platinum. Do it. Stop waiting. Just do it.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here and joining us in this conversation. And thank you, Kristen, for coming on and sharing your perspective. I love you. I love having you in here. Let's go year two. Woo.
Thank you so much. Have a great
Okay.
day.
Bye.